Good afternoon, everyone. We are so glad that you can join us. Welcome to the Together We Heal Forum, which is organized by the Central Texas African American Family Support Conference and Integral Care, a local area mental health service provider of Travis County. This conference vision is to educate the African American community on mental health, substance use disorder, and intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as the total well-being of African Americans. We hope that this forum will provide an opportunity for you to participate in the conversations and offer education, encouragement, and resources to thrive. My name is Sonia Hosey, and I will be facilitating the conversation on the power of diversifying your whole health and wellness program. Let me give you a few housekeeping rules. Please mute yourself at all times. There will be a time for interactions, and so you may raise your hand then and unmute yourself to talk when you are called. If you get emotional or overwhelmed, please turn off your video so you may handle your emotions privately. Note that this session will be recorded and streaming live on Facebook, so just smile. Our guest today is Renee Molden, Gary Walker, and Bobby James. They are a team of experts on different components of well-being. Gary Walker is Team FX Austin coach. Gary created Team FX Community to be an example of the challenges and rewards that we can achieve when we are liberated and the highest potential of our minds, our bodies, and our spirit. Team FX Austin is unified in their vision, their goals, and their commitments. Renee Molden, and I hope I pronounced this right, Kawit, I hope, Yoga Austin. Renee, the owner and principal teacher, discovered Kuwait yoga accidentally in 2017 while on a trip in Telluride, California, or Colorado, I'm sorry, with her family. And it was a perfect time for her to discover this method as several different situations were organizing around a big transition. And then last but not least, Bobby James is the founder of a nonprofit organization by the name of James Connections. She and her colleagues work together to provide tips and guidance to support overall health and wellness. Renee, take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here with Bobby and Gary. We all three are very passionate about bringing health and wellness in a diversified way. So I am Renee Molden, and I did find this method it's called Kayut Yoga, named for the creator, and one of the best things coming out of Brazil right now. It's been in existence for about 30 years. And part of the transition that Sonia was discussing was that I was moving into my own transition, menopause. And I had quite a lot of sciatic nerve pain. I had a daughter that was moving into college who has some mental health issues. And I had a 8-year-old boy at the time, very active, very mentally active. So very big transition. And what I want to talk about today is what I work with my clients on. One of the biggest things would be the nervous system. It would be the relationship with chronic pain, and that we don't have to leave the aging process to chance. So when we talk about the nervous system, we are all in a day and age in our modern society that keeps us in an overcharged nervous system, I would say. And it's almost so the parasympathetic nervous system, and which has us reacting many times in a defensive way. And it's a chronic state that we become locked in, and it starts to become a pattern that gets locked within our own systems. For example, ask yourself this: what is your own pattern with relationship to a deadline you might have? And that might be a paper, that might be getting dinner on the table. Is your pattern similar to mine, which is a little bit of panic because not everything's quite ready? Or do you have a self-care solution that includes giving yourself all the time you need to really get that deadline taken care of in a way that feels soothing to your system? I also wanted to talk about, there's a rope story where a man walks into a dark room and he sees what he thinks is a snake. And his own nervous system is overcharged to the point where he has a heart attack. And this could be a possible true story, when actually it was a rope. So his particular nervous system didn't have the capacity to slow down, take a moment, respond, and really understand, was it a rope or a snake? So this also plays out in therapy. For example, when the therapist asks me, how do you really feel about this? The tendency we all have is to avoid not just the pain in our minds, but also in our bodies. So in a therapy session, my pattern might be to, well, let's analyze this and think about it, when actually I really need to be thinking, I need to be really feeling it emotionally in that therapy session. And that's what's going to help me move through that emotional piece. When it comes to the physical body, if we are in a pattern of overcharged nervous system, and then we get to the point where we're not sleeping well, or we're having some digestive situation, we have some acid reflux, and we think that maybe it's the food, when actually, if you don't give yourself a chance to reset your nervous system and move into this place where we call rest and digest, how can you expect your body to really digest your food well if you're locked in a state that keeps your digestive system from functioning well? So the work I do has a lot to do with practicing moving in and out of the nervous system, the calm, the kind of moving between the two states, the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, and some sympathetic. We do have the components of both, so that as that translates into our daily life, we can be in more of a flow state. That state where, you might be an artist and you're painting, you might be a musician, and you're just in this flow, and it feels good and it feels right. And if you're not able to achieve that on a daily basis, or if you're not practicing some form of that, then that can be affecting your sleep and your blood pressure numbers. So when you have a practice, you want to be seeing that those things are impacting your numbers. When it comes to the aging process part of it, we all have compensatory processes as well. For example, we all, generally speaking, walk between 2,000 and 3,000 steps a day, which has our feet working in the same really position for 2,000 or 3,000 steps a day. And the big toe joint is probably the most overused joint in our bodies. And when we go 10, 20, 30 years with the same pattern, then it just creates certain patterns of rigidity in our body. And what we want to see in our feet is, we want fluidity, we want feet that are strong, and we want feet that are mobile and functional, because those feet are going to impact the knees, the hips, and even the organs and the way we just flow throughout the day. So that's a basic overview of what I do. I'm not sure how much time I've gone over, but I could do a demonstration or stop or pause.
You still have time, Renee. So
Okay.
you can do a
All right.
demonstration.
Then I will do a demonstration. So for that, I'm going to, I'll turn my screen around so that you can see what I'm doing. But what I'm offering is some variety. We sit in chairs for our work, most of us, and there's been a lot of talk about standing desks and that kind of thing. But there's another form of variety, so I thought I would demonstrate that today. And part of that starts with the feet. So one thing I'll show you is something you can do with the feet that might take 3 to 5 minutes per foot. And I'm showing you a different, just some variety you can start to add into your day, and a different option for sitting. So I'm going to move my screen this way. And now you can kind of see my yoga mat, and I'm going to put on my microphone. Okay, from here, I'm going to do this standing because some of us need to stand. Some of us have, let's say we have had rods put into our toes for some reason or another. So one way we would get started is just to be feeling and allowing the top parts of our feet to be stimulated by the bolster. And I would usually have that person hold a wall or a chair. So we would just be stimulating the toes in that way. However, if you have the availability, then we want to see you using that availability. So personally, I have the availability to have my toe joint, big toe joint pressing into this bolster. Okay, so you might hang out here for a few minutes, 2 to 5, and then we could do more toe work. We could just see how my ankle now is kind of moving off to the side. This is an angle that we don't often see in our feet as we walk 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. So this would be the beginning of a kneeling pose that we call Virasana. It doesn't really need to have a name, but this toe work is one of the easiest and fastest ways to help clean up the joints here in the knee. So we've done the toe work and we're sitting at our desk. So we can sit in a different position, in a position that opens the groin a little bit. We can sit in Virasana or this kneeling pose, and in a way that doesn't impact the knee at all. Some of us have quite a lot of fear. We have maybe a replacement or injury. So we can just have our feet here, because really this shape is about stimulating the feet themselves. So you might do 1 foot at a time as you're working. You might choose to do both. So we're just stimulating the tops of the feet. You might choose to do one that allows the feet now to move in this direction. So this would be the beginning of a shape that you could work with, and you're just varying the use of your own feet. Another expression of this pose would be sitting, and you could do this in a desk. You know, you could have a smaller desk, build up blocks, something like that. And we just have the knees apart, feet moving in toward the center, and you could sit on 10 pillows if you needed to. Because if your knees feel safe on the floor, that's one of the things you could do. And just have a little bit of variety as you type and work and do all those things. So that's my little demonstration to show you some things you can use to vary what you do as you work. You can also, in class, we would be working with the nervous system, and we would be not thinking, not analyzing, not questioning. We would really feel the reality of our system and allow the nervous system to come into this, what we call growth and repair state, so that we can allow the brain to start to reestablish this ability to, oh, I have toes and feet, and my ankles have the capacity to move in this way. So it's a gentle invitation. Now I'm going to change to my headphones and pause once again and see how I'm doing on time.
That's perfect, Renee. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so
Oh,
with that,
now
Gary,
it's
yep.
Gary's turn. I forgot that part. Sorry, Gary.
All right, thank you, Renee. And thank you, everybody. It's really good to be here. I'm Gary Walker. I'm a marathon runner. I'm in training for my 22nd marathon. I'm also the head coach for a local community wholeness marathon training group in Austin for 15 years and have trained over 300 people of all ages, shapes, sizes to start where they are, mostly from the couch, to safely walk or run a marathon, half marathon, or 10K. Excuse me. So just in general, training for a marathon, I start with people where they are. And it's a from point A to point B situation. So point A is where you are. Point B is not the finish line, it's the start line. It's how do I get you from where you are to be prepared to run a race or walk a race. So the first thing is you don't need to be in shape to train for a marathon, but you got to think of it like any other big goal in life, like let's say high school. You don't walk into first grade thinking, you know, oh, when am I going to get my diploma? You know, it's one day at a time, it's one grade at a time, it's one class at a time. So in the marathon training, it's one step at a time. And the goal of the marathon training for me is injury prevention. And we do that with coaching sessions on good posture, good running form, proper shoes and other gear, proper nutrition, core exercises, stretching, the mental aspects of training, because it's not just 100% physical, it's 100% mental as well, and then recovery. So I realized that many of these things that we do in our training have their basic daily benefits as well. So you just remove the distance from it, and all these coaching sessions have a benefit to us in our everyday life. So how do we get from where we are now to get to the start line? And what is the start line? Is basically what are our life goals? For me, the marathon is my goal, but in life, I have other things to be and to do. And so I want to be there healthy and able to do them. We don't know how long we're going to live, so every day matters. And we can't reach our goals if we're sick or injured. Sometimes we don't have control over illness, but often we do. We have the ability to take care of ourselves. So I look at life as the ability to invest today in my long-term well-being. And when we are well, we can reach our goals. We can become better mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, partners. We're more focused and productive in our work, and we can become a beacon for those that we love. So what can we do to improve our well-being based on these things that we do in marathon training? I'm just going to explain some basic benefits of each of my coaching sessions, and I'll do a little bit of demonstration as well. So as Renee was talking about, posture is so important in our everyday life, and we don't think about it. So if anything that I can engage or empower people to think about is, how are we sitting? How are we standing? How are we sleeping? When we sit in our chair, do we slump? Do we, put our head on our hand? When I'm driving, my right foot is, energized on the accelerator. What's my left leg doing? There's an imbalance in left to right. Are we slouching? Are we straight up? Just keeping our posture in our awareness. Even sleeping, there's a correct posture for sleeping, which is sleeping on your side. You want to have a pillow that's high enough so that your head is even with your spine as you're sleeping. Just think about all these different positions that you're in throughout the day. And what you want is alignment. You want balance from left and right and front to back. This is also true with good walking. When we're walking, what's a good form for walking? We just want all of our movement to be purposeful, and we want it to be forward. Just very basic. Instead of pushing off back behind us, we want to lift our legs forward. We want our core, we want our whole body in forward motion. With shoes and other gear, it's just important that we have proper fit. We don't want to have shoes, mainly our main contact with the ground, to be insecure or create instability in our posture when we're walking. So I recommend everyone get shoes that, spend a little money for this long-term investment that keeps your foot strike stability good in everyday life, not just for marathon runners. For nutrition, I recommend to all my team that they drink consciously 1.5 liters of water every day. This is my 1.5 liter Nalgene bottle. I fill it up in the morning, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I make sure it's empty. Why 3 o'clock? Because I don't want to get up in the bathroom in the night to go to the bathroom so much. So this is my daily dose of water. It's so important for our body function. Also, pay attention to eating healthy, unprocessed foods. Eat at home when you can. At least when you're eating at home, what you're putting into your body. When you're eating out, food is entertainment. It tastes good and it fills your gut. We need to think about what are we doing to our bodies with what we're putting into it. I'm going to check on time. Okay, doing good. So I am going to give some examples of core exercises and stretch exercises. Core is for strength, mobility for all your systems, front to back, side to side. And just going to show here really quickly a couple of things. So one of the core exercises we do is a hip bridge. There's many more exercises that we do beyond this. I just want to give you a few that you can do at home, sitting watching TV. You can do these in your bed before you get up. I'm just straight on my back with my arms resting beside me, my feet up toward my body, and I just lift up my hips. I hold that for 10 seconds, and then I drop down, rest for 3, and I keep going. I do that 5 times in one day. Also, sit-ups. You're engaging your core on the front side. Do 10 of these a day. Easy. You don't have to, just never to the point of pain is what I always say. So sit-ups and also push-ups. They're very good for your lower back, hamstrings. You could do this from your knees for an easier push-up, or you can do these from your feet for a more difficult push-up. You do just 10 of those a day. Any of these things are going to be better than 0. Now some stretch samples, good for flexibility of all your systems, front, back, and side. I'm going to stand because it's mostly focused on my feet. This is, you can do anywhere, just standing around. Right foot over left, right hand straight down toward that foot on your right. And I say toward because you might not be able to go as far as I do. I've been doing this a long time, but just never to the point of pain. Breathe, hold it for 10 seconds, switch sides, left foot over right, left hand straight down to the foot on the left and hold for 10 seconds. Then there's the flamingo stretch. So when we're stretching, we want to stretch the back as well as the front. So I'm just holding on to my bookcase here, grabbing my right foot. My right knee is straight down. My heel is up to my rear, and I'm stretching my quadriceps on the front side of my thigh. So that first stretch, I stretched the back. This time I'm stretching the front. Let's see. Oh yes, one more. This is a very good stretch you can do while you're sitting or standing anywhere. You're basically standing and crossing your leg and just leaning down to bring your nose toward that ankle. Just as far as you can, keep breathing, never to the point of pain. It's really a good stretch for your hips and for your IT band on the outside of your thigh. Hold for 10 seconds and switch sides. Just do this standing around anywhere. You can do this sitting in your car and when you're at the stoplight. Just make sure you get your leg back down in time. Those are just a few examples. And the other part of marathon training that I think is very beneficial to us in general is the mental aspect, because running has been proven to help us heal the trauma pathways in our brains. But you know, we work to help children who have been traumatized, but really no one escapes trauma. We all have experiences of job loss, loss of loved ones, illness, just so many things that can throw us into kind of a PTSD experience. So if I could share anything, it's just how can we change the I can't to I can? And it's all mental. And the main thing is we got to turn the negative self-talk off. We got to turn it to positive. You know, fear is only about the future, so we need to focus on the present. If we have anxiety, just remember you have every right to be here and to be who you are. There is nothing wrong with you. That's the most powerful thing that anyone ever told to me, was that there was nothing wrong with me. And there is nothing wrong with you. And yes, you can. You know, there's no shortage in the world of health, love, and joy. You deserve it all. Accept this as your own personal infinite wisdom. And finally, in recovery, just be good to yourself. Do what you can to lower your stress levels. Get some rest, get some sleep, and just take good care of yourself. Take care of each other, and we're all going to be good. So I think that covers me on my time. And so I'm going to pass this along to Bobby. Thank you very much for having me, and see you in the Q&A.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Gary. Thank you so much, Renee. It's great information. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Bobby James. And as Sonia shared with you guys earlier, I'm the founder and executive director of JAMS Connections. I just really want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Lady Jane and to Sonia for allowing my colleagues and I to share with you guys the power of diversity in your health and wellness program. And so hopefully the information you've received so far has been something to give you thoughts to consider in your health and wellness program. I know when I first heard the word yoga, and I even tried yoga, I'm like, I don't know that yoga's for me. You know, my ability to twist and do all these various things, it's just not for me. However, I'm very thankful to work with Renee and to getting introduced to Kali Yoga because it definitely changed my mind about what yoga can do for one's body. And so I hope that that's something that kind of has you thinking a little bit differently. And then when I met Gary at the idea of a marathon, what? I don't think so, right? 26.2 miles at one time, in one day, maybe in a month. However, maybe he brought this energy to me. I've known some folks to do some marathons. I've done a half marathon, and I've now imposed upon myself to walk a marathon next September. And so Renee mentioned about our toes and the overuse of that, right? And so I'm definitely going to be incorporating her movements and shapes to kind of get my body ready. And Gary absolutely offers some great guidance in his stretching and core exercises to help me be stronger. So I love working with both of them. And I'm going to bring the component to you guys about truly movement. So majority of my portion is really the show more than tell part of things. My program is part of what I do is about enjoy what you do. So if you are willing to come off camera, it's not a must, but if you are willing to come off camera and join us in this last portion of before we get to Q&A, I would love to see your faces and love your participation. I believe when it comes to our health and wellness program, when we find the things that resonate with us, that we really enjoy, that encourages us to repeat the behavior, right? We hear all sorts of programs. We get involved in all these yo-yo diets and all these various things, and we find ourselves feeling like a failure because we can't repeat it. You know what I mean? That's too hard, or that's whatever. And as Gary talked about already, all of us, Renee, myself, we have another partner that couldn't make it today. We all are about start where you are. We get this vision, oh, it's January's coming up. I got this idea of, I got these goals and make these resolutions, right? And we get to March and we no longer want to do those resolutions. So again, my portion of this presentation today is about dance fitness, right? So I have 3 songs that I'm going to play for you. And if you're familiar with Zumba or, some other dance fitness classes, throw that out the window. I would say what my program has to do with is, watch kids, right? You turn on the radio, what are they doing? Right? They're shaking and wiggling because music is a universal language to all, we can all relate to. Can I get a amen, hands up, right? And so we want to play some music for you. Stay in your chair if you want to, get up and move. But like I said, I have 3 songs for you. You can do what I do, but it's not intended for you to do what I do. It's intended for you to move your body however the music moves you, right? So let's make sure, if you're gonna stand, make sure you got clear, your area is clear, and because safety is most important. But I'm going to turn on some music, and we're going to dance 3 songs. And just as a heads up, the 3rd song towards the end, it's kind of like a line dance, and the performer will tell you what to do. But again, if you don't feel like moving the way he asked you to move, don't even worry about it, right? This is about having fun and about just getting up off the couch or out of the chair and move your body. Or again, you can do chair dancing. It's all good. So I'm going to move my chair. And we're going to get going with the music. Trying to start it off a little slow. Can you guys hear the music? Your love is patient, your love is kind. Hey! You always break through for this heart of mine. All right. Your love is pure like I love it. Light. There's no one like you that can give me life. What I'm talking about, yeah. You sew me back together, carefully, wonderfully, fearfully. Hey! Love is like your love, 'cause you gave your everything for me. You're my heart, right from the start, and you hold me for eternity. No other love. Hey! No other Take that, Jimmy. Hey. Engage that body. I feel my heart is reaching when I catch a glimpse of who you are. You made this soul to love you. Carefully wonder. Yeah, you looking good. Love it. Hey. It's like your love, 'cause you gave your everything for me. You're my heart, right from the start. Yeah. And you hold me. What? For eternity. No other love. Woo. No other Take a breath if you need. Nothing else will do. Nothing else but you. Yeah. Nothing else. There's no place I can hide, but your love cannot find you. Run after me. Yeah. Run after me. There's no place I can hide, but your love cannot find you. Run after me. You run after me. No other love. Hey. Yeah! Good job! Love! Love! Yes! You guys look amazing! Love it! All right, the next song is going to be a little faster beat. But listen to your body. Move that body. Hey! Yeah! Chance to get a little breath. Our third and final song coming up. As I mentioned, it's going to be a little bit of a line dance if you choose. If you're not familiar with Zydeco music, it has a tendency of being a little happy, high beat, but listen to your body and move however the music moves you. Woo!
Here we go.
Hey!
Here we go. Southern soul inside go.
Here we go!
Here we go. Here we go. Southern soul inside go.
Everywhere I go!
From coast to coast. When they hear from Louisiana, they wanna know
About
about
the Zydeco!
everywhere I go. People from coast to coast. When they hear from Louisiana,
Yeah!
they wanna know about the Zydeco. They wanna know.
Hey!
They wanna know about the Zydeco. They wanna
Yeah!
they wanna know about the Zydeco. So that's when I tell them, if you're ever in the dirty South,
Dirty South!
come to Louisiana
Come on!
and learn about the
Zydeco bounce!
So that's when I tell them,
Hey!
ever in the dirty South, come to Louisiana and learn about the Zydeco. Here we go.
Hey! Here we go!
Southern soul Zydeco.
Yeah!
Here we go.
Here we go!
Here we go. Southern soul Zydeco. Here we go.
You slow it down.
Here we go. Southern soul Zydeco. Here we go.
Hey!
Here we go. Southern soul Zydeco. Everywhere I go, the people from coast to coast, when they hear from the dirty South,
Hey!
they wanna know what
It's all about.
it's all about. Everywhere I go,
Yeah!
the people from coast to coast,
Ow!
they hear from the dirty South, they wanna know what it's all about. They wanna know. They
Hey!
wanna know about the Zydeco. They wanna know.
Ow!
They wanna know about the Zydeco.
All right.
Y'all about ready to learn?
He's going to teach us 4 steps to the right, 4 steps to the left, alternate 4 times, bounce 4 times and repeat.
So get to the dance floor.
Get to the dance floor. All right. Here we go.
So about to show you how it goes.
Woo!
Y'all ready?
We ready, right?
Right,
Left.
left,
Right, left, right, left, bounce, bounce, bounce,
bounce,
right,
right,
left,
left,
right, left, right, left.
bounce, 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 bounce.
Repeat if you want to.
Here we go. Southern soul inside
Get that twist. Ow! Work those obliques. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yes, yes. Good job, everyone. Woo! That was a good workout.
Awesome job. Awesome job. I hope everybody had some fun. Awesome job. Awesome job. Thank you so much, Renee and Gary and Bobby. I mean, that was really, everybody I think needed to move, and it's good to even sit down and do some, some dancing. I think I even saw a little puppy on the screen. I'm not sure, but I think I saw a little puppy on the screen. Okay, this is a time for questions and answers. Gary, there's a question. How long does it take to train for a marathon?
That is a very good question. It kind of depends on where you are when you're starting. If you are coming right off the couch, I recommend a very slow progress over time. I think a year is the most realistic way to attack it. You could fast track it a bit if you're in a little bit more shape and you're more accustomed to movement. Then you could do it in 6 months. Well, we start with walking a mile and just slowly, very slowly in the very beginning with all the coaching sessions. And there's also community around it too. So we go for tacos afterwards. So it's a fun thing.
So it sounds like we just have to start somewhere. Renee, there's a question. Is yoga for everybody?
It is for everybody. It is for everybody, not everybody, but everybody, absolutely. And I can just talk about one particular situation. I have a student who has osteoporosis, and it's in the stages of she's close to could have a break. And so typically what happens is it's recommended that no forward flexion of the spine or curving of the spine. However, we were all designed to curve the spine. And when I ask her questions like, do you drive? Yes. Do you sit on the couch? Yes. Do you, and this may be a little funny, but relevant, do you sit on the toilet? Yes. All of those things, we are in a forward flexion with our spine. So we start there, and it's not that we're trying to move the spine at all. It's that we want to just make peace with the current reality of the spine. Because many times when someone's not at peace with their body, you can see the shoulders, the rigidity. And if we can just be in a moment where we're just at peace, sitting in a chair, and then, at the end of 5 minutes, you feel better about your body, about yourself. So we start wherever the person is. So it could be at that level, and it can be a lot different. So it's all very customized. If I have 10 people in the class, there's 10 different classes going on because it's all per the individual.
That's good advice. That's good advice.
I have a question, Sonia. I have osteoporosis and I get infusions. So that's good to know that.
Yeah.
And also what Gary was saying about the stretches, because I also have frozen shoulder. I got it after my surgery on my neck like 3 months ago. So I have been really in pretty bad shape, and I'm kind of coming out of the frozen shoulder. And it's because they have been making me do a lot of stretching exercises. And that's what's been helping me a lot. And I didn't know you can get frozen shoulder from the way you leaning over on my computer all the time and from being at home on the computer. And that's how I got it, from being at home using my computer so much and not getting up all the time like I usually would do if I was at work. So I was glad you shared those stretching exercises.
Yeah, and it's a couple of things as well, because when we use our body in a certain way for a long period of time, like sitting in a desk, 10, 20, 30 years, it's not that you sat in the desk for that long. It's that you just haven't had the variety in the system that you need. And when it comes between the way, we're feeling the stretch. Gary is stretching for a particular reason for the marathon, and that needs to be there. And what we're doing is we're not stretching is in what Gary's doing. We're doing something, and it goes with his program, with the marathon program, and it's perfect. And then we have a distinguishing aspect between allowing the joints to open. So when you're coming to a yoga class, you're not doing anything because you want to allow the shape to present itself and release connective tissue from around the joints. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a distinguishing aspect there. And all very relatable within their own components. So,
Good advice. Good advice. Bobby, what is your advice when somebody is always on the go and sits a lot at work?
Thank you for the opportunity to answer that question, especially when you're at work. If you have this handy thing right here, right, watch or phone, right, set a timer for every hour to get up and move your body. And even if you're not walking in the hall or going to the bathroom or something, just stand up at your desk, do some stretches, move your body, because we can get pulled into the task. And before you know it, oh my goodness, I've been sitting here for 4 hours. It's important for us to commit to our health and wellness and our longevity, as Renee was mentioning about. Hopefully we are blessed to have long life. We know we're not guaranteed that. If we're blessed to, let's do it gracefully, right? So part of that is keeping the body moving. And Gary talks about the same thing of going from the couch to just walking. So one of the words that came to my mind, Renee, when you said the distinction between Gary's stretches and yoga, what it has to offer, Gary's doing preventative, keeping you from injury, right? Whereas yoga is more restorative. Would you guys agree with that assessment? And I hope that I answered the question about when you're one, all things is mindset. Mindset first and foremost, and then the commitment to you. None of us in this room can make you do anything your mind is not focused to do and you are not committed to you. So like Gary talked about, if I could part you with some words of wisdom, change your mindset about what you can do for your body. And second, commit to you and your health.
Awesome. Mindset and commitment. The last question is, when it comes to exercising and keeping fit, what must be tied to dieting? When it comes to exercising and keeping fit, must it be tied to dieting? Of course it must.
Okay, well, if possible, to allow the three of us to give our input regarding that. And Gary, you spoke about nutrition earlier. If you would like to be the first to speak to that, and then Renee, and then I'll give my 2 cents.
Yeah, just real quickly, I don't like to think of dieting as much as I like to think of it as, being aware of nutrition and your body, how it affects you. Everyone's different. I think everything in moderation is more of a healthy way to look at things. In marathon training specifically, we're talking about carbs for energy, protein for recovery, and electrolytes for organ function to get us through the race. But you know, we need our greens, we need our fruits and veggies. You know, I did mention unprocessed foods is very important. If you eat a lot of processed food, a lot of sugar, and you're running a marathon, you're not going to lose any weight. You know, it's going to be nutrition and exercise together. Next.
I can go next. I did want to touch on this. I think this is related with what Gary was saying. You know, I grew up with a family who wanted me to switch between feeling really negative in a way and then switch, be happy, just be happy. And it wasn't until I started to practice and teach yoga that I even knew that there was a neutral space. And in that neutral space, I'm able to choose that more easily than if I'm in a negative space and then I just try to switch to being happy all of the time or whatever. I can do it and pretend, but it doesn't come from me from an authentic place unless I really have felt what neutral feels like, where there's just kind of this empty space. And I think it has to do with diet and nutrition as well, because for me personally, it's definitely tied to how I feel. Absolutely. If I personally follow a diet that's whole foods and protein and vegetables, I naturally feel better. And when I feel better, I keep that habit going. And so I definitely think it's a personal thing. And I don't like to think of things as a discipline, even with the yoga, because discipline is a more aggressive word, and it needs to come more from a place of inspiration, yoga, nutrition, than to feel like it's this, oh, now I have to eat only broth for 3 days now, you know, nobody wants to do that. So, you know, a balance and being held accountable in a community and having a teacher are things that are important to me. So.
Awesome. I know that we're running short on time, so I'll try to make this quick. Renee and Gary spoke eloquently about my thoughts. As I said a few moments ago, mindset, right? And so on that thought, the word diet really is about, we all are on a diet. It's because it's our food. It's what we consume. But we associate the word diet to losing weight and managing certain things. So if we can switch our thinking that when we talk diet, we're talking about what we eat, okay? And so as Renee said, as Gary said, it's a balance. And pay attention to your body. Our body speaks to us. So when you're consuming food, take note. Start journaling. My body responded this way to this type of food. It gave me energy, it made me sluggish, right? So it's really, again, that commitment to self and understanding what works for you. Because what works for me, what works for Gary, what works for Renee, what works for any of us in this room, we can't say that's the end all be all, right? We got to pay attention to what works for us and take, like Renee said, accountability and responsibility for our bodies. And you're sure receive information from our doctors or our nutritional leaders in the world, but they're operating on the data they've collected. Collect your own data from your body and determine what works best for you. Sorry that I'm taking us over. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been amazing. I hope you guys have received some good information.
Thank you, Renee, Gary, and Bobby. I mean, this was an awesome session. There was one comment about mental health and preparation. Mental health and preparation. I thank everybody for being here. Let me go and do the end in regards to we thank everybody, first of all, for coming here. I mean, this was an excellent opportunity to come and just just really to take a break and just know how to get up and stretch and to take care of our bodies. And so I thank you again, Renee, Gary, and Bobby for being here. Every third Wednesday at 1:30, we have the Together We Heal Forum. So look for the upcoming announcements for all of the Together We Heal forums. They have been amazing, and we will continue to do those every third Wednesday at 1:30. Also, we want to invite you to the Central Texas African American Family Support Conference. This is going to be the 22nd year of the Central Texas Conference. The registration is now open, registered to attend, and this is going to be a virtual conference. And so you go to register at ctaafsc.com, the Central Texas African American Family Support Conference.com. So we'll see you all next month. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.